Welcome everybody and a look at the latest 4K release from both CultFilms and Shameless Entertainment. So they've done a collaboration for this film. I have bought a couple of 4Ks from either one before. I think I bought Django from CultFilms on 4K and The House with Laughing Windows from Shameless Entertainment. But I will admit that I've not bought a huge amount from either label before. But it's really nice to see that they're doing a collaboration to get this film out, and it is 1977's Suspiria. So yeah, limited edition version and directed by Dario Argento, who I've seen 11 other films from. Favourites being the likes of Deep Red, Phenomena, Tenebrae, and The Cat and Nine Tails. This is a supernatural horror film. One of the few that he actually did. He usually does, giallo thrillers and so the like. And it clocks in at 99 minutes long. And oh no, sorry, 98 minutes long. And yeah, stars like Jessica Harper, who had a minor role in Minority Report. Stefania Cassini, who was in The Bloodstained Shadow, which is another really rather good giallo. Udo Kier, who unfortunately I've not seen a great deal from. He unfortunately passed away late last year. But he did have a really rather solid small role in the recently released Secret Agent. He was also really good in Bacurau, American Animals, and Blade. Then you've also got Alida Valli, who's been in a wide variety of films over many decades when she was alive. She was in the film noir film The Third Man, as well as the horror film Eyes Without a Face, the horror film The Antichrist, Senso, as well as the really rather mad mix of genres, The Cassandra Crossing. Also stars Joan Bennett, who was in a few really rather good film noirs like Scarlet Street, Secret Beyond the Door, and Manhunt, but this is a much later film in her career. So, an American newcomer to a prestigious German ballet academy comes to realize that the school is a front for something sinister amid a series of grisly murders. So, yeah, this is far from my favourite Argento film, as I much prefer his giallo efforts over the more supernatural ones like this, although I will say that this is better than Inferno, which is another one of his supernatural, inflicted kind of films. But I did ultimately find myself enjoying this slightly more than I have done in the past with this release. That is, though, despite the fact that this still has its issues, such as some excessive exposition, a lack of characterization, and the plot is quite bare bones. Thankfully, though, this excels in practically every other area while having plenty of effective atmosphere and on point pacing that helps make up for any issues with the plot. The cast is also good, it looks superb, has an epic feeling to it thanks to the great score. The cinematography, lighting, and use of colour is excellent, has some effective tension, has plenty of vividly gory moments. The finale is entertaining, and the first kill still has a jump scare in it that still gets me to this day. So, yeah, I used to rate this around 3.5 out of 5, but I'm going to bump it up ever so slightly to 4 out of 5. Still not my favourite Argento film, like I said. Much prefer his giallo efforts. I just think that they have a bit more of a substantial plot to them. But on the whole, this is a really, really great effort and a fantastic release from both CultFilms and Shameless Entertainment. So we got the film in a normal kind of 4K case. So we have the film here and then the extras here. And reversible sleeve artwork as well, with an alternative Suspiria poster with the typical Shameless Entertainment border of yellow. We also get a few art cards as well. So both are double sided. So the first one is a poster art card. So we get the poster we've seen already, and then the alternative one that we've seen as well. Then we also get a couple of art cards, a couple of shots from the film, so minor spoilers. And then we get a couple of shots from behind the scenes. We also get a poster, only single sided, not particularly thick in terms of its paper, unfortunately, and yeah, not massive either, but still, it is nice to have a poster regardless. But it is, yeah, by no means the best quality paper that I've seen from a poster for a limited edition version. And we also get a booklet as well. It's called Suspiria, an insider's view. There's nothing on the reverse, just says it's a collaboration between CultFilms and Chambers Entertainment. Not sure why they have had to collaborate. Maybe both had the rights to this film to release it on 4K, or maybe it was too expensive to release it as a single label. But yeah, regardless, it is interesting that they've done that themselves. So yeah, there's a big write up in this. Not entirely sure. It's a book by Argento expert Alan Jones. So basically, it's just him talking about the film. You also get shots from the film throughout as well. You also get talking about other Argento films like Cat and Nine Tails, Four Flies on Grey Velvet, and Deep Red. So that's interesting. And yeah, then we also get a talking about the actual restoration itself. So yeah, Suspiria was filmed on 35mm Eastman camera negative stock 5247 to obtain the deep, vibrant colours envisioned by Dario Argento, one of the key positives of the film. Dario Argento, prints for theatrical presentation was struck using the complex Technicolor dye transfer process. It was one of the final films to be produced this way. Over the decades, though, the primary film elements of Suspiria suffered substantial damage. The camera negative itself is no longer complete. Damaged sections were replaced with duplicate negative materials to maintain the film's full length. However, even with these materials, some frames were still missing. The best surviving film elements, the camera negative with intermediate negative inserts and interpositive elements, were used for a comprehensive restoration. The film is now complete again, with all missing frames carefully restored digitally. The distinct colour palette was returned to the original Technicolor dye transfer specifications using reference materials. So the restoration was performed by TLEV Films, Film Restoration and Preservation Services in Germany, on behalf of the film's rights owners, Video Spa Italy. So yeah, it's had high dynamic range exclusive to this disc, additional grading for HDR and Dolby Vision exclusively by LSP Median EGBR. Film scanning 4K anamorphic, original negative, intermediate negative elements, and interpositive elements. Scans performed on an Ariscan at Technicolor Rome, Italy. And then it had Imagica scanning, digital processing, additional colour, further retiming at the DCI certified post factory in Berlin, sound restoration for also for the English soundtrack, and created for this Ultra HD a new matrix encoded 2-channel left-right tracks designed to be decoded into 4.0 surround on a home cinema setup and also playable on the regular stereo system as well. So yeah, quite technical there, granted, but you know, some people obviously know more about that than I do, but regardless, it does look and sound really, really great. So you do have a few audio options. You've got 5.1 English and Italian, plus English surround and mono DTS HD. It's in 235:1 aspect ratio, full 4K 2160p HDR Dolby Vision, and you can have English or Italian with English subtitles and additional subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, which is good. On the main disc, you've got Suspiria told by Dario Argento. There's also an introduction before the film starts from Argento himself. Surveying Suspiria by Cine Excess. Fear at 400 Degrees, also by Cine Excess. Suspiria Restoration by Tila Films. Audio commentary by Alan Jones and Kim Newman. Interview with actor Jacopo Mariani, Italian opening and closing credits, and trailers, TV spots, and radio spot. Plus, on the extras disc, which is only in Blu-ray, Suspiria 4K for UK film premiere, introduction by Dario Argento and Alan Jones. Screen talk at Barbican with Dario Argento, Alan Jones. Then you got a Claudio Simonetti interview, so he's one of the people involved with the band Goblin, who did the soundtrack for the score for this. Then you got Ladies of Fear interview with film historian Kat Ellinger, interview with Foley artist Massimo Anzalotti. Dario Argento, Stefania Cassini, and Alan Jones into Suspiria. Interview with makeup artist Pier Antonio Masaki, and then interview with still photographer Franco Bellomo. So yeah, plenty of extras there. Apparently, there's over 6 hours of it. So of course, it's both discs. So plenty of extras there for you to delve into, but the film itself is really, really good. Like I said, I enjoyed it more than I have done in the past. Still don't find it to be, a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination, or by quite my favourite film for Argento either, but it's still up there with some of his best. And yeah, it's even though it's not as good as the four that I mentioned beforehand when going through his directorial filmography, it's probably around fifth, at the worst sixth overall out of those other out of the 12 that I've seen in general, including this. So yeah, on the whole, really really good effort, and this is a fantastic limited edition. I think it's a new one. Came out yesterday as far as the UK release, but whether it's had a much new older release from another film label, I'm not sure. But still, it's great to finally own this, and it'll sit nicely against the other Argento films that I own. Including the four that I've mentioned, but also alongside the likes of Sleepless, which also got a 4K release from Vinegar Syndrome last year. So it's nice to have more of his films on 4K. Obviously, our video, I've done several of his giallos on 4K as well in the past. So really, I'm amping up his filmography in terms of being on the best format possible. But nonetheless, if you have seen Suspiria before, let's hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.